I will let the world know.
Remove him now.
Because we're not going for all of that.
No.
That's just total disrespect.
just not gonna do
and
that.
you need to just start learning to have some respect. Next time you see me, Mr. O'Hara, we want to sit before each other.
You have to honor your oath.
Remove him from the building.
Now, Judge Tim O'Hara, your behavior is a disgrace.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. In today's video, we're going to be checking out the latest Tarrant County Commissioners meeting and the public comments that took place on April 15th, 2025. And I'm sure nobody's going to be surprised. Not a whole lot has changed. Tim O'Hara is still running the show like it's his own personal dictatorship, tossing out anyone who says something he doesn't like or uses a tone that he finds offensive, or if he thinks it's offensive. Translation: the First Amendment means nothing to Tim O'Hara, and he makes that clear at every meeting. We've been documenting it week after week. The Johnson family once again showed up to peacefully demand answers about the death of their loved one in the Tarrant County Jail, and once again, O'Hara had them removed. In the past, he's voted to keep litigating this case and hiring more lawyers rather than just being transparent, settling with the family, and showing them the body camera footage so they can finally get some sort of closure. But O'Hara, along with his loyal foot soldiers Manny Ramirez and Andy Kraus, would rather protect the government machine than to hold anybody accountable. And that tells you everything you need to know about them. Now, let's get into the meeting. Be sure to like and subscribe and share this video everywhere.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Ms. Simmons, for being the one with the most couth on this board and for honoring your oath.
Thank you.
Let's be clear before I begin. This is my time. You will not interrupt me. I don't care what your titles are. You will sit there, you will be quiet, and you will listen. That's how the First Amendment works. You don't control my speech. I do. Now, Judge Tim O'Hara, your behavior is a disgrace. You've made it a habit of silencing and removing citizens from these meetings just because you don't like what they say. That's not leadership, that is cowardice. It's unconstitutional. City of Madison makes it clear that when you open this floor to public comment, you create a limited public forum. You cannot silence speech based on content or viewpoint. Your conduct is viewpoint discrimination, plain and simple. Rosenberger versus UVA confirms it. And in Jones v. Heyman, a public official just like you was held personally liable for removing someone who criticized them. So let that sink in. Now, Sheriff Wayburn, I don't see you here today, but under your leadership, 80 people have died in your jail. 80. That's not a statistic, that's a crisis. That is a moral and legal failure. You've built a department that acts like it's above the laws. Your deputies don't even understand when they can enter a third-party home to serve a warrant. They don't have body cams? That is basic Fourth Amendment law, and it keeps being violated. This is what happens when power goes unchecked and no one's held accountable. But that ends here. I'll say this plainly, I'm tired of watching you cause lawsuits and stick your hands in all of our pockets to pay for your misconduct. We're footing the bill for your failures, and that ends now. Ison v. Madison School Board, the court made it crystal clear officials cannot punish or remove people for speaking critically at public meetings. What you're doing isn't just wrong, it's illegal. I'm not here asking for change, I'm here demanding it. You will start listening to the people of Tarrant County, or we will make sure that your time and power that you want to hold on to, you don't want to grab more, but you want to hold on to your power, it comes to an end. We are organizing, we are watching. We are not afraid of you, we're not backing down, not now and not ever.
Thank you.
Is Miss Abraham here?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
I did have a statement to make, and I did have a lot to say. Had something written. But you, Mr. O'Hara, you changed all of it. changed all of it. Because this was my professional statement to the commissioners, particularly to you, Mr. Ramirez, because this is getting ridiculous. All of you. I'm only here because my son was killed on your property, your municipality, your county, your floors, and the jailers watched it. And I'm coming back here constantly. My wife, with her pleasant self, constantly acknowledges who we are. But I'm just a simple man. You talk about the laws, you talk about the 10 Commandments. Well, Mr. Krause, let's go where the roots of the 10 Commandments come from. 42 laws of Ma'at. Ma'at. That's African. And I know you know that, Mr. O'Hara. Or what are you teaching these little kids at the, what, Bible school? Is that what your kids learning too, Mr. Ramirez? Because what I'm seeing here, and every time I'm coming here, I'm seeing exactly who killed my son. I've given you all plenty of chances. From the sleeper, who you took the place of, to the celebrator, and now the leader. Now I know who killed my son. Your culture, Mr. O'Hara, your culture. See, I noticed how some are still alive now. But Eckert's gone. Yeah, Eckert's gone. And then you make sure Weibo's there. Why? Because Weibo just seen to it. I'm going to get to the bottom of all of this, and I will let the world know.
Remove him now.
Because we're not going for all of that.
No.
That's just total disrespect.
We're just not going to do
and
that.
you need to just start learning to have some respect. I'm going to come in. Ain't no problem. You know what? I have respect for the sheriffs. I have plenty of respect for the sheriff. You see me again.
Thank you,
You
Mr.
see me
Johnson.
again, Mr. O'Hara.
All right, Mr.
The next
Dobson.
time you see me, Mr. O'Hara, we're going to be sitting before each other.
Remove him from the building. Mr. Dobson.
It's not surprising that some of you are willing to spend more time and resources on redrawing districts that can potentially influence votes, and even hiring a law firm that a cost as residents that will ultimately bear, instead of updating the standards operating procedures at the Tarrant County Jail, which haven't been revised in over 15 years and have been proven to contribute to deaths. Mr. Krause, thank you for continuing to highlight the contradictions within county leadership. How can you advocate for implementing the 10 Commandments for others to follow when the very people you work with consistently fail to uphold the principles found in either the Bible or the Constitution? With your knowledge of history, Mr. Krause, why do you keep forgetting to mention that the fact that your thieving forefathers didn't see me or people or Miss Simmons who look like us as people? Why do you keep dismissing that? The way you guys have been dismissing our family for almost 365 days does show how this county is being ran. And all we're going to keep on doing, and all our willpower, is continue on to make sure that the truth about this county, the racism, and the false gods that you guys are trying to make all of us to believe, to end it. Because it's causing deaths. So Mr. Krause, speak on that. Why haven't you guys fired the main person who is violating every ounce of rights for people of the residents? Explain. Exactly.
Thank you.
My name's Carla Palomares, a resident of Precinct 4. We're just 6 days away from Easter, a holiday you, Commissioner Krause, just shared is the most important holiday, one that should be spent with our loved ones, right? One that should have us all filled with gratitude and joy for our gifts of life, right? Well, we're also just 7 days away from the anniversary of a life that was gifted to us, being stolen by the Tarrant County Jail staff, by JPS staff, by MHMR staff, by our sheriff, and by this court. This life, the life of Anthony Johnson Jr., that was gifted to us, his family, his friends, his neighbors, his community. Anthony should be here now, getting ready to celebrate the most important holiday coming up in just 6 days, with everyone who loved and cared for his life. So should the other 70-plus people whose lives were stolen by this county. But Anthony's not here. 70-plus people aren't here. What happened sadly goes beyond tragedy. It's intentional negligence. It'll be 1 year that our communities have been lied to and given false narratives about what's actually going on in our jail. It'll be 1 year that our communities and the family of Anthony Johnson Jr. have been denied justice, accountability, transparency. But justice is coming, accountability is coming, transparency is coming. Because my life was also a gift. And I will keep honoring that every day by showing up here, speaking to call out the hypocrisy and corruption that sits on this court, that sits in our sheriff's office, that sits in our DA's office, and everywhere else, as long as it takes for hearts to change, or in this case, every one of you is voted out and held responsible for your actions. Release the full video of the murder of Anthony Johnson Jr. now and fire Bill Wayborn.
While patiently waiting for answers in an outside investigation report required by law for the death of my son, Traylon Wormley, who died inside of Tarrant County Jail in 2022 from apparently a fentanyl overdose. Leaders, I come to realize the soil on the ground of Tarrant County is contaminated. Can you imagine what it does inside of Tarrant County Jail, Sheriff Office, Medical Examiner, and the Tim Curry Criminal Justice Building, not to minimize our community? Leaders, sometimes it's not about the smartest. It's definitely not about who carries a higher title. It's about respect, love, and consistency. While attending Tarrant County Commissioner Court, it took me less than 6 months to observe that the Tarrant County Commissioner Court is unsuitable for families seeking answers, justice, accountability, and transparency for the deaths inside of Tarrant County Jail. Why? We need leaders to be able to hear our voices. We need leaders that can mentally remove their thoughts, put it to the side to hear what's being spoken. We need leaders that can set examples for our community, not just during the election time. We need leaders to be able to respect the person to your right and to your left. Leaders, it's time to break this ongoing cycle on the grounds of Tarrant County that has continuously destroyed and left families, many families, with no answers. It's time for change. It hurts me daily to know that Traylon Wormley wanted to be as he say in his words, back normal. When his time expired on that football field. His death is still unclear to me because I have no investigation report, outside investigation report, when they stated inside the sheriff's office back in 2022 that I would have one.
Thank you.
Thou shalt not kill. This month, April 2025, marks the 1-year anniversary of 2 deaths at the Tarrant County Jail. One was Roderick Johnson, a 42-year-old man in custody since the prior December, who died of fentanyl trazodone toxicity on April 18th, 2024. The other was Anthony Johnson Jr., age 31, who died from a homicide conducted by jail detention staff on April 21st, 2024. Both deaths were squarely the responsibility of jail management. I speak today to remember these two men and their families, and all of the some 70 who have lost their lives in the Tarrant County Jail since 2017, and to say this. Many deaths raise questions about the treatment of prisoners at the jail. Deaths of fentanyl toxicity and deaths of hypernatremia or dehydration, respectively labeled accidental or natural, are integrally connected to conditions in the jail. For example, how are long-term prisoners able to access fentanyl? Why were prisoners unable to access water? Why did a recent death occur from starvation? Robert Miller's death was deemed to be caused by sickle cell crisis when he did not have sickle cell disease, but instead had asthma and was pepper sprayed at close range while handcuffed shortly before he died at JPS. Other deaths cited as caused by heart disease are questionable in relation to other evidence in those deaths of toxicity, mental health conditions, and potential deprivation of prescribed medications. There is no garden variety, accidental or natural death. And as we know, the community was deprived of true independent investigations of these deaths as required by law. These deaths were preventable and would not have happened with responsible correctional management that actually cares about the lives and safety of those in its custody. Perhaps, in the words that we heard earlier and in the intentions of Chief Herklotz, and I can only hope and pray that change is going to begin to come in the score. Thank you, Commissioner Simmons, for consistently and continuously pushing for accountability and change at the Tarrant County Jail. I ask your brethren, step up and do the same. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we now move to announcements or comments. Any announcements or comments from the court members, sir?
I viewed the video and I only had 40 seconds of speaking time that was broadcast. I would like to reclaim my time.
Yeah, that's not happening. Thank you. So